There she is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back on Pej's Recovery Corner today. I have a very, very special guest. I've been really excited about having Joanna Shoop on here. She's a good friend. I love her so much. I'm so happy that she's on today. Welcome to the corner, Joanna.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We want to learn about you, learn about who you are, where you're from, all that. Where were you born?
Oh, I was born in Laguna Hills, born and raised.
Laguna Hills, California.
Laguna Hills, California.
Okay, and what was it like growing up in Laguna Hills?
What was it like? Oh wow. Thinking way back. It was interesting, I don't really have a lot to compare it to. I was kind of sheltered a little bit, I guess you could say, and it was pretty it was just simple, I think. I don't know how to really describe it. Just
Sheltered, and how so?
growing up. Sheltered, my parents didn't want me to, get into anything. They didn't want me to be like my older brother. So kind of.
Okay, so when you say you were born in Laguna Hills, were you adopted?
No, I was not adopted.
You were not adopted.
No.
Right. I thought you told me that before.
My older brother was adopted.
Your older brother was.
Mhm.
Okay, but you're not.
No, I'm not.
Still have same mom.
I'm a triplet.
Oh, you're a triplet.
Yeah.
That's the special thing about you.
Oh yeah, I'm a triplet.
And the other ones are boys, girls.
A boy and a girl. I have two older brothers as well. My oldest brother was adopted.
Oh, okay, that's what you told me. Yes.
Yeah.
And okay, so being sheltered, like how so? Like what was that like?
Just like being really kept from drugs and alcohol and being grounded all the time and actually obeying my parents when I was being grounded.
You would obey them?
Oh yeah, to an extent. I mean, during those times.
What were you doing that you were getting grounded in the first place?
Oh gosh, driving my friends in the car and
How old?
17 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't
Kind of
driving.
I was like a late bloomer
Late bloomer.
in many aspects of life.
Did you rebel?
After that, I got my first tattoo when I was 15.
That's where it started. By the way, in case you can't see, she's just covered, and beautiful tattoos.
I got a few.
So 15, you got a tattoo, and mom found out.
Yeah, she found out, and she made me get it removed. So I had tattoo removed.
Where was it?
It was on my wrist, and it said Celador. It was from the movie Donnie Darko.
So you straight up got a tattoo on your wrist where she was going to definitely see it.
Yeah, well, I put bracelets on it, so it wasn't. I thought it was more of my triplet siblings. They, word of mouth got around because I thought I was the cool kid. And
what was her reaction when she saw it?
It was more like, let's see. Obviously, she was upset. I was really young, and that was kind of like the beginning of everything. And my brother's girlfriend at the time had taken me to get this tattoo at a shop.
Mm-hmm.
So it was done not at a home, which a lot of people get their first tattoos done.
I got my first tattoo done from a friend in high school that she used India ink and a pen and made this lame tattoo right here.
Love that.
And the day that I went to get a haircut, which I used to have hair back then in the 80s.
I've seen photos.
My mom took me to go get the haircut, and I took my shirt off, and she looked, and she's like, "What is that?" Like, just laser focus. What is that? And I was like, "Oh shit! Like, I'm fucked now." And I remember that she was so angry. Like, I got the haircut. She didn't talk to me for 6 months.
What's the tattoo of?
Well, now it's different. Now it's the traditional old school
Panther.
We
could redo that. has a little bit of love it needs put in it,
right?
Maybe.
But before that, it was an eyeball with wings.
Oh, classic!
That was the India
very
ink.
90s.
So okay. So you got your first tattoo, and then she made you get it removed.
Yeah.
And then.
And then I think it was just a snowball effect. I should I just share about?
Well, how did it become okay for you to get more tattoos, or were you starting to do drugs to rebel?
Then I started smoking weed. First drug I ever did
How
was I guess I was a sophomore or at the end of my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
So at the end of my freshman year is when I first started experimenting.
And who did you how did you come about smoking?
Well, before I ever smoked weed, I bought like 15 pills of ecstasy from someone in my biology class.
Before you ever did any drugs?
Before I ever smoked weed.
50 pills of ecstasy?
15.
15. That's
Close
still
enough,
not cheap, though. That's a lot.
I was, I think I was just ready to jump with both feet in. And I bought 15. I remember them being Blue Dolphins or something at the time.
I remember those.
Yeah, those were classics.
Mhm.
And
Blue Dolphin ecstasy pills.
and yeah, I remember I told my brother's girlfriend. She was like, "Well, you have to do them safely, so do them when you're around me."
Uh-huh.
You know, and so I took, that was the first time first drugs I ever did was I took ecstasy
Okay.
before I ever smoked weed. And then after that is when she wanted me to, she's like, "Oh, I want to get you high," and all these things. And, you know, come to find out later on, you know, years later, that she was a tweaker and, you know, I'd been smoking meth while, you know, she's getting me high, and she introduced me to a lot of people that I was able to start buying weed from and all that stuff. So it's kind of just out the bat, you know, people at the time were, they ran clinics and stuff like that. So I could just get weed from the clinic directors or whoever was running the clinic at the time. And
Mhm.
I was probably like 16. Yeah.
So basically, this kid that was sheltered and following rules and getting in trouble,
Yeah.
but like, you know,
I was ready.
you were
I was
ready.
ready.
You just wanted to break out of your shell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then it started with weed. Obviously, you had the ecstasy too, but then what
Mhm.
else?
What
What
You know, I
happened?
really didn't start drinking for a long time because I was too worried about getting caught drinking, out of
Mhm.
all things. Yeah, I just started selling ecstasy. Really shortly after that, I started selling. I mean, all of sophomore year and maybe junior year, sold ecstasy, and that's actually how I got into smoking meth. Was someone that I sold ecstasy to had invited me. Was dropping off some ecstasy to them late at night, and they were all like hanging out for a little while, and then that's kind of how they were smoking meth out of a broken light bulb. And I liked the guy a little bit at the time, and that was the first time. And then it kind of snowballed a little bit, and I was like, where do I get more of that?
Smoking meth out of a light bulb.
Classic move, right?
I remember those days.
Have you done that?
Oh. Every hotel room that we used to stay in, we had to like
Broke a light bulb.
I mean, I'm sure the management probably wondered why do they leave our rooms with 0 light bulbs left.
That's funny. They probably thought you needed them for something important.
We had to brighten up some other parts of our lives.
Out of light at the house. So
yeah, exactly.
Take some.
So you got into things like that. So drinking came later.
Drinking came later. I mean, I drank a little bit with my friends up, but when I drank, I got too drunk and I was sick, and I would make a fool of myself or something. So, I kept thinking, like, you know, in the program, people are like, I remember my first drunk, and I'm like, damn, do I remember my first drunk? And I'm just reminded of a time where we were at a big Ritz-Carlton, like 3-story mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I remember drinking that much. And I got drunk and, you know, I'm puking in the toilet and then hungover the next day feeling like total trash. And I was like, I don't like feeling like that. So I kind of didn't really do it that much. But all the other drugs and stuff like that, it was like whatever I could get my hands on for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
When you were in your youth or growing up, were you artistic?
So I never thought like I was, you know what? It's not that I knew or didn't know. It's that I didn't have the support from my family to pursue a career in art or anything of the sort. It was not even on the table. What their plan for me, just like my triplet siblings, was to finish high school, get into a 4-year college, and have a career from whatever I went to college for. It was just like that simple, you know, plan of action kind of. You know, my second oldest brother did that. Both of my triplet siblings gone to 4-year colleges. And it was kind of, I wanted to do makeup, actually. Right. I really wanted to do makeup if I had done makeup.
Do makeup like in the mall or?
No, just
professionally?
Freelancing. I mean, at the time I was only, you know, 18, so makeup wasn't a big thing back then.
Yes.
So yeah, I thought I would go to makeup school and see where it took me, you know, but I never really took that opportunity because I didn't think that I basically didn't have the support from my family or friends or anyone really, like, cause that wasn't something that it was kind of like a last ditch option kind of thing. It wasn't back then a career path, a big career path, really money making. Now, if I had done that, wow, you imagine where that could have been. But, you know, I'm grateful that didn't happen because I'm here today and I have a lot more other things. I make a lot more money probably than a lot of makeup artists now. So
nice.
Yeah.
So as you were, you know, getting into your later teens and into your young adulthood, what happened? Did you start to get into some heavier stuff?
Yeah, so I'm thinking like maybe high school years, I just smoked a lot of meth. Like I just
Were you running with people that were obviously tweakers?
so I started the same dude that introduced it to me. I had to get it from him.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically because I knew what people were like on it,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I met other people that did it. So I didn't know like who to ask, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
in high school.
Right.
But there was an instance where I met a friend of a friend, and he was, on a good one. And I was like, you got more of that? Like,
Yeah.
I could tell, like, you're, like, not, just being normal. And then I started seeing that guy and getting it from him. And I'm trying to think, like, how did it progress? I had other friends that I was close to that had connects,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did kind of start running with people, but I was the kind of person that I didn't want to, like, deal with a lot of people. I just kind of
Right.
wanted to get my drugs and hang out with a small group of people
Mm-hmm.
and not be around a bunch of tweakers, because I just felt like more it was more acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, in a way.
Any police activity?
Yeah, so I got my first DUI when I was none of it was it was criminal, but none of it was involving drugs
Mm-hmm.
for, till the last time I got arrested.
So what do you mean? A DUI is driving under the
So
influence?
none of it involved. Well, you're right. Driving under the influence of alcohol. None of
Okay.
it involved hard drugs, I guess you could say.
So what was the DUI driving
So
under the influence of something else?
No, it was alcohol.
That one was alcohol.
I had a .03 blood alcohol level. I was 18. I lived in Chico. I thought that was the move. And a guy ran in front of my car, painted all dark green like the Hulk. And it was like a few days before Halloween. So, of course, he was painted dark green like the Hulk, and he was wasted, and he ran in front of my car as I'm going through a green light. And I hit him. I mean, I couldn't see. It was like 3 feet in front of me as he ran in front of my car. It's a small little road in Chico. If you've ever been up there, it's not like a big town. They don't have a lot of street lights.
Your car hit him.
I hit him. It was all on videotape in front of a 7-Eleven. So they tried to get me with bodily injury, DUI with bodily injury. They dropped the bodily injury, and that was the kind of start of my.
They dropped the bodily injury?
But they kept the DUI because they were able to prove basically what ends up happening in a situation like that is who was more negligent. So, like, the guy had a .28 blood alcohol level.
Oh, he was drunk.
He was wasted. He had been in the 7-Eleven an hour prior. It's all on, in the paperwork.
Right.
He'd been in the 7-Eleven an hour prior. He had threatened the cash register lady. He said, "I'm going to come back and I'm going to kill you." She wouldn't sell him any more alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So he left after threatening her. And on his way back across the street is when I hit him. And then, so I blamed him for a long time. I didn't want to take any responsibility for my own actions. And then, I moved home, and then I had a big back injury. I broke my back and my wrist. I was thrown out of a car.
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of was what started my tattooing and art stuff, very piece by piece.
How so?
Well, I started collecting glass. So I can't believe I'm not wearing a pendant right now, but I started collecting glass, and I started getting into this really niche industry of glass blowers and art collectors. Mm-hmm. And that has completely changed my life.
I've seen some of your stories on Facebook and stuff where you're somewhere where they're blowing glass.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so I'm a collector. I consider myself a collector. And I just had a lot of time on my hands. I had a broken back. And I was rehabbing from that. I got money from breaking my back. I got a little settlement, not a lot, but I started investing in glass at the time, and I still smoked weed. That dabbing became popular. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started dabbing, and we would go to gauntlets and share glass, and it'd be this whole community thing too, right. Getting high. And it was a big part of my life for a really long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, and you were dabbing, but what about the weed, the speed? Had you put meth aside?
No. So
you were still tweaking?
Both of them. Oh, yeah. Both of them just as hard as the other.
Right.
Yeah. So dabbing.
This is your early 20s?
Yes. Yeah. Early 20s. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess you're right. 21, 20. So I started collecting glass in 2012, a year or so after I had back surgery in 2012.
Right.
I had a lower lumbar fusion, and yeah, that's when I started collecting glass. I have some pieces still from those years. I still have a big collection of stuff, good investments.
Now you said DUI. Was it your first DUI? Was there more?
So it was my first DUI. Then I had two more I had three more DUIs. One got dropped
Oh my
because I was a
god!
.03, but I had two other DUIs. There were second DUI, failure to yield to an ambulance in LA. I got pulled over for failure to yield to an ambulance.
And they found out you were drunk.
I had a .05. So we had just gone to a bar, hadn't been drinking much. I had left it. I was like, I'll drive because I feel safest driving. And then I was still on, excuse me, I was still on DUI probation from the first one because I had a 5-year DUI probation from that.
Oh my god!
And so, yeah, they really got me on that one. And then, yeah, I got that DUI. I was in LA County Jail. And then a few months later, I got a third DUI. I was in Laguna Beach.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled too tight on a turn, and a cop had already pulled someone else. A motorcycle cop had already pulled someone else over, and I popped my tire in my car when I took the turn too tight. And then he was like, whoop, of course, he came and arrested me, and I ran from him.
Oh my
I ran
god!
from him. And so they got me with evading and stuff like that. And
Evading police is not a good charge, especially when you already have a prior.
So bad. Yeah. So, but they just booked me and like let me go to the drug tank in Laguna Beach. I didn't go to Maine or anything. And then maybe a month later, I got like another DUI, but that ended up getting dropped in court, .03 blood alcohol level. And I had a really good attorney by that
All
time.
your DUIs were like a small amount of alcohol.
All of them were, yeah. My third DUI was a .08. Yeah.
That's like one drink, right?
I had one, like, yeah, I had a tall like IPA beer. But I just finished it. I literally remember I threw it out the window like maybe a few blocks before I got pulled over. So
and did you ever like think, I've got this DUI, I got this other one, and maybe I shouldn't be drinking and driving, but I'm going to do it anyway?
No, because I like to drink and drive.
Oh, you liked it?
Oh, I like to drink and drive. I like to be drinking at all times.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't that. I don't want to be as boring. I wanted to be in the car. I wanted to be like, have a buzz.
Yeah.
Plus I'm on meth the whole time. So realistically,
you're not as drunk as what
I'm not as drunk.
Yeah.
And I want to, I'm on a high. So I need to so I don't have too much paranoia and anxiety. I need to like relax my body and be on like a little bit of a depressant so I can try to even out, You
had it calculated.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And then?
So I fought that case for maybe a year, the third DUI, the fourth one got dropped. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. My attorney at that time had a really amazing attorney, and I fought it, for a long time. She was like, just go to rehab. Like I'm like, I can't stop smoking weed. That was like my biggest thing. And I see that so often. I couldn't stop smoking weed. I did not want to give it up. I have back pain, blah, blah, blah. I, made up any excuse I could. And,
right.
And so I finally put it off, and then I signed for like 4.5 months to go to jail. Finally signed that case. I just wanted to get it over with by that time, and I went to the farm for 5 months, and then I knew after being there for so long that I didn't want to go back to that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I think that was the first time I was like really introduced to AA and the big book, because there was a big book that there was a lady with like 6 or 7 DUIs, and she was like, this is what you need to be doing.
Read the book.
And anyways, so I decided to get reprocessed or whatever. I forgot what the term is, and get resentenced, mm-hmm. so I could go to rehab for 6 months.
Right.
And that only happened right at the end of my sentence anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I went to Nancy Clark for 6 months.
You did?
Yeah, I went to Nancy Clark for 6 months, and
Nancy Clark is what, for those that don't know?
Nancy Clark is inpatient rehab.
In Costa Mesa?
In Costa Mesa, California.
Was there counselors and things like that?
So there were counselors. It was a really great rehab. I guess I shouldn't really be saying this necessarily. I don't know.
It's okay.
It was a great rehab, but I faked it. Like after the first 2 months, I was so dry. I did not want to get sober. As soon as I got out of jail, I was like, the wheels were spinning. I was like, what did I get myself into? This is going to be a little vacation. And basically what happened was maybe even a month and a half later, I started getting privileges and all that stuff. And basically what ended up happening was I met a connect in there, and I started drinking. I started putting Four Locos, and, Starbucks cups, and I started things got a little better,
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, like I can still have a good time and things be fine. But realistically, what I ended up doing was I told my mom I was smoking weed, and that was supposedly okay or whatever with her. So I had her give me her piss the whole time I was at Nancy Clark. I had her pee for me. I've told you this though. But
I've
know you
been
love
waiting
this
for this
story.
part.
I know you love this story. I feel like I don't tell this enough because it's kind of an interesting thing. But
Your mom was peeing in a cup or a bottle?
she
Or
was peeing in a cup for me, and then I would prepare it, and I would use that for weeks, months.
what? How
She
did
would
you?
freeze it sometimes.
How did you?
Yeah.
How did you convince her? Listen,
I
you're in
was-
rehab. Like, how's your mom okay with peeing in a cup? Does she know that you are getting loaded?
No, she just thinks I'm like smoke that I would test dirty for weed at the time,
So to her, weed wasn't a big deal.
Weed wasn't. She didn't really know about. She turned a blind eye to a lot of any other drugs. She was just like, she just doesn't understand. It's not like I'm shooting up heroin and I'm asleep with a needle in my arm. She doesn't ever seen that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so to her, I was a functioning addict. I got a lot of stuff done, at least in. And
So
I
you
was
would come say,
super
"Mom, I need you to
functioning.
pee in this for me."
Yeah, I would make, yeah, because I would have her do it like the night before, the next morning. I started going to school at Saddleback, and I knew the days that they were going to be testing and breathalyzing and all that stuff, and I've kind of built a rapport, and I was able to just
fly under the radar.
Oh yeah.
So when she would pee in the cup and freeze it, how? I mean, you're supposed to give that to them at body temperature.
So I put it in a little 5-hour energy bottle. And you put like tin foil at the top, and you put it inside of you, and you poke a hole, and you have to pee in front of them.
Put it inside of you where?
Inside of your body.
Like underneath your armpit?
No, like in your body cavity.
That's where you would stick that thing?
Yeah.
My God! Oh my God!
And it doesn't matter. It didn't matter about the
I mean, I know about people
They
putting
didn't-
things inside of them, but like that.
They didn't
whoa.
check about the body temperature. That wasn't a thing. They just.
I mean, I had to get a job one time when I was 18, and I had totally dirty piss.
Yeah.
But
Those places are serious. This was.
no, I had somebody that peed for me, and I actually went to the place, and I knew that they had a lunchroom around the corner with a microwave, so I went in there and warmed my pee up.
Wow.
And brought it, and like I pulled it off. The guy's like, your body temperature is unusually high, like much higher. You might like have like fever symptoms. I'm like, no, it's okay, just take it. And he took it. I got the job. But that was, whatever.
That's great.
We be clever, you know what I mean? Like
That's
we come
great.
up with different stuff. But so 6 months you were in that program.
6 months, and I barely finished it because towards the end, my mom's piss tested dirty for amphetamines, but I think it was just like pre-workout she was taking. She definitely doesn't do it.
God.
She definitely doesn't do amphetamines. So
Right.
my dealer in the rehab, I used his piss.
He was clean.
Yeah, because he had to do it for family court and stuff like that too, and he couldn't. He just sold it.
He was the plug.
He was the plug, and I got it the last time. But when I tested dirty, they tested my spit. And they were like, oh, because of course I was dirty for amphetamines.
Right.
So of course my spit's going to test dirty too because it's actually mine.
Right.
Anyways, it was like the last week I was there, and I don't know how it all worked out, but it did. I finished that program, and that wasn't the end of me running and gunning for a program.
Right.
I've forged a certificate of completion for the court before,
Mm-hmm.
and I got away with that in Ventura County.
When you got out of there, how long did you stay sober for afterwards?
I wasn't sober at all.
Oh no, sorry, you're right.
Yeah,
You
so I
stay sober.
didn't stay sober.
So what'd you do?
I continued getting high and drinking, and
Where were you living?
I lived with my mom. Yeah.
In Laguna Hills.
Yeah, Laguna Hills.
And then you started getting into other stuff. Did you get in more trouble?
I'm trying to think like what else, because I feel like those.
You told me earlier that you were shooting dope.
No, so that was only towards the end, but right before. So I think I think after that I kind of just slid by for a long time. I just continued doing the same thing for honestly a few years. I did pet sitting and dog walking, and I got away with that, and I did that, and then I just got miserable enough, and there was a point in time, I went to jail in 2015. Wow, now I'm thinking about how much time went by in such And in my head, it was like,
Is that where you met our friend?
What?
Our friend that we were talking about earlier? Is that
Oh yeah, in 2015.
Is that so? That's 6 years ago.
6 years ago, that was the last time I was in Orange County in jail, and then maybe 3 years ago. Now I think about it, so 3 years passed. I don't know where the time went, but it went up the pipe basically, and 3 years passed. I don't know what I want to do with my life. Totally a mess. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do cut and sew stuff. I'm collecting glass.
You're tweaking during
I'm
all this
tweaking
stuff.
the whole time. Oh yeah, tweaking,
And that
drinking.
meth world, like when you're in that lifestyle, everything's a clusterfuck.
Everything was.
You don't really know what the fuck, right?
The time I can't believe it was 3 years that went by before.
Well, they don't call it speed for nothing. It speeds everything up.
Yeah.
Right?
So I was just trying different things. I wanted to do something with my life. I didn't know what, and I finally was like, my mom was tired of me being at home. I didn't want to work, didn't want to get a job because I wanted to do pet sitting. I wanted it to be easy. Right. And, she was finally really tired of it. And she's like, you need to get out of here. And
she knew you were getting high in the house?
I don't know if she knew I was getting high. It was just that I was drinking her alcohol all the time.
Oh my God.
I'd always drink all her alcohol. I was too paranoid to go to the store and steal it because that's what I usually would do. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to get caught doing that. I didn't want to get caught with DUI again. Right. I knew if I had continued to do that stuff, that would happen. So I just didn't do a lot. I made people bring it to me. Right. And that's kind of what I did for a really long time. And finally, she was like, you need to get out of here. Like, you cannot be here. And
so she kicked you out?
Kicked me out.
Where'd you go?
To my grandparents.
Which was where?
Which was in Westlake Village, California.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yeah. And I thought that I was going to get sober. I thought I was going to stop drinking and doing drugs. And that was a very short period of time.
Didn't happen?
Did not happen. And what ended up happening was I started looking on Craigslist for connects. And that's how I started shooting dope.
And were you looking on Craigslist for meth connects?
Meth connects, yeah.
Because you liked uppers.
Yeah, so I wasn't looking for anything besides meth connects because I could get weed, I could get alcohol. Mm-hmm. I could get anything. I could pick up, Xanax down south, stock up. I'd always pick up a lot.
In Mexico?
No, just down here. It's south of LA.
Orange County.
Orange County. Sorry.
Okay.
I would just stock up anything I needed, Mm-hmm. And I had a Percocet prescription, so I sold Percocet. And I continued to do that during that time. And I had a 120 milligram Percocet prescription.
Was that because of the accident?
Because of my back injury, yeah. And so that kind of helped.
Did you ever shoot heroin
no.
or perks or anything like that?
I never took perks either.
Oh, you didn't even take your prescription?
No.
You just sold them?
They make me really sick. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So,
like violently sick, make me dizzy and stuff. So mm-hmm. I never could take them. I tried to before when I was like out of drugs, but I would be miserably sick. And I was just like, well, that was a mistake. I would just lay in bed and like feel like crap. So,
it's interesting. Like I had me personally, I think may have been because of my geographic area where I lived.
Yeah.
I had a heroin stint.
Yeah.
For some time. I had an opium stint, like real opium.
Yeah,
like straight up opium, right? And I became highly addicted to it, and also like experienced the withdrawals and didn't even detox. Like I didn't go to detox. I detoxed myself, and it was hell, right? But like it just seemed like if you lived in the late 90s or like early 2000s in South Orange County and you knew people, or it just seemed like that area was just tweaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
So in knowing that you now tell me that you moved up to LA and you were seeking meth, like
Simi Valley,
you were getting it, right?
That's where I found it. Yeah.
And what would you just type something on Craigslist? Like
Craigslist, there was a time they had like personals, and it was more like probably shouldn't be telling people how to do this, but they used to. It used to be like seeking people, like people that want to like mess around and stuff, but really like. That's where I was looking for it because you could say
certain things,
looking for Tina and stuff like that, having Tina party and all these things, and I could start weeding them out, and then just there happened to be
Isaac
one
says
guy.
That's how he found his.
See, Isaac, I feel you right there.
And Lynn says
it's not that hard. Hi, Lynn.
So then you were tweaking up in LA.
Yeah, so I was doing that, and it was hot as hell, and it was just. That guy shot it, and I never had been around really someone that much that did it, and I wanted.
He shot like intravenously.
Intravenously. So I did it short period of time with that guy, but basically what ended up
Were
happening
you scared the first time you were going to stick a needle in your arm?
I think I had thought about it so much, like,
Had you already gotten tattoos?
yeah, I'd already gotten a bunch of
So
tattoos.
you weren't afraid of needles?
I wasn't afraid of needles. I think it was more like I wanted to feel like something, a different high. You know, it was supposedly so good, you know, so people made it this thing, and he didn't want me to try it really, you know, he was like, everyone always says it's not the way to go, but I wanted to try it, you know, and I did, and I liked it, but I could only get high because he could help me, and when he could help me.
Right.
And basically this guy, that's when I started, this was like my serious criminal stint where find out that he doesn't buy and sell motorcycles. He steals motorcycles. So we started scouting and stealing motorcycles up in Ventura County and Simi Valley. And then we got arrested for chop operation and possession of stolen vehicles. And that was when I was like, this isn't going to
Did you go to Twin Town?
We went to Ventura County.
Ventura County.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how long were you in jail? I
was in jail for like 10 days. I got OR'd. And then I was able to go to a program. They allowed me to go to I don't even know how this happened, whether it be a godsend or not, but he went to like a 6-month inpatient. I was allowed to do a 3 because I had a really good attorney. Of course, mom again, you know, helping me out.
Mom came and saved you.
But yeah, so I got a 3-month outpatient. I don't know how, instead of leeway of jail time. So I went to Pillars in Costa Mesa, and really great program. I loved them. I had really good counselors. Really wanted to stay sober. Really wanted it this time, and I was really serious about it. Got a sponsor, started working the steps, and you know, God really tested me again. You know, I was still wanting to do the house sitting, pet sitting thing, and didn't know what else to do because that was what I was good at, and I found a lady on housesitter.com. She needed me to watch her house and her like 13-year-old in Laguna Beach. You know, we had an interview. Basically, I'm there watching her house. My vape had broken, so she had a vape in her room where I was staying, just on her dresser. I hit her vape. And I was like, that tastes like meth. That tastes like meth. And I hit it one more time, and I was like, because in my head I was like, this is just old juice. She didn't take it with her, you know. There's no way. So
she had straight meth in a vape.
She had meth in a vape, 100%. And I put it out of my mind. I didn't hit it anymore. I did it twice. I didn't hit it anymore. I put it aside, and I was like, I had been talking to some dude at the time, so we were kind of up all night talking anyways on the phone. So I just thought it was nerves being in a new place. I didn't really think much. Yeah, it was harder for me to sleep, but I wasn't meth high like you would be after relapsing. Because it's different when you hit it in a vape than when you hit it.
Sure, it's vaporized.
Yeah. And so anyways, so I went to my program the next day at nighttime, which I had plenty of time to get my mom's pissed, because thinking back, that's what I would have done if I knew I was going to test dirty.
Right.
Because I had to, I'm looking at like a 2-year sentence or something if I don't finish this program. And I'm like a week and a half away from finishing this 3-month program. After having dealt with all these other issues with them making sure I was finishing on time for the court and all these other things and paperwork. And basically I end up testing dirty, and they kicked me out. They're like, well, you
out of Nancy Clark.
No, this was Pillars.
Oh, it was Pillars.
So this was 2018.
They kicked you out?
They kicked me out. They said either you go to detox, which I couldn't because I'm watching this lady's house. She'd already paid me. You either you go to detox or you have to leave, you know? And I was super upset. I was like, I can't believe this. You know what I mean? And you know what? There was a moment in time where I could have called my sponsor. I could have reached out, and I chose not to.
Right.
Went back to that house. I decided to, forgot what I did that night, but the next night was a big music event that I was going to be going to. So I was like, I just started drinking that night. It got really lit. I had hit the rest of her vape juice that she had that weekend, and then I was off to the races. I made a certificate of completion for that court case so that I could pass. They thought, you know, HIPAA laws, you know, they can't, unless it's a warrant, you know, or something to provide, you know, medical records.
You made a fake one?
I made a fake one. Yeah, I ordered the certificate paper and everything. I had taken a photo of one.
Doctored it up.
Someone that it was so easy to do. The craziest thing. I had a photo of someone that had just completed it maybe a week prior. And
Quite the clever tweaker.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got out of that program, and then, that's basically for another 9 months. I was running and gunning, and I made friends with all the bartenders at the local bar, and that was like my regular thing, and I really was just so miserable, and during that time, I applied to Laguna College of Art and Design because I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, I told my brother I wanted to be a tattoo artist, and he's like, this was, prior to that, and he was like, when I was living with my grandparents, I had bought my first art supplies and stuff like that, and I really wanted to start painting, and he was like, well, if you want to be a tattoo artist, you need to learn how to paint, and that was really the beginning, and I I had gotten an iPad during that time too. So I had an iPad to use to draw on, and I started building a portfolio, essentially a portfolio of artwork, because you needed a portfolio to apply to LCAD. And so I applied thinking I'm not going to have any chance. I have no idea where the standard is, for them to allow students in and accept students. And I remember I was at the bar when I called them to see if I got in or not. And when I remember stepping out of the bar. It was a beautiful day, and I started crying, and I was just like, because I got accepted, and it was like my only place I had applied. It's not like I was really, taking a big stretch just applying there.
Right.
And anyways, that I knew as soon as I got in, I needed to cut the cord. I needed to like start getting serious. I did not want to throw away this opportunity. And but I could stop smoking weed, and I could quit the meth. But when it came down to it, I could not stop drinking. I couldn't go one day without drinking. And a month before school started, it was like when I went to a meeting, I was able to not drink that day. I don't know how. I'd been praying about it, and I was so miserable the last time I drank. I just remember I had no money. I had burned out all my spots. I was just so paranoid. It'd been over a month since I smoked meth or weed at the time.
Right.
And, but I couldn't stop drinking. And I remember I was miserable meeting, random dudes on dating apps and having them, drinking their alcohol and stuff. And this one guy, I went to his house, and he only had like tall boy Coors or something, which was like not the kind of alcohol that I wanted to drink, but I drank it anyways. And he was like all depressed, and I was like, what am I doing? And the next day, and then I did a bunch of nitrous, that night or something like that. And the next day I went to a meeting, and I didn't drink that day. And then I went to a meeting the next day, and I didn't drink the day. And then I went to a meeting the next day, and Tara was speaking at Gucci. And that's when I asked her to be my sponsor. And I've been sober ever since.
And it's been how many years now?
So it's been 2 years and 2 months.
And why do you take it so serious?
Because I could lose everything. Yeah, I could lose everything. I have a beautiful life today. And
you got sober in your late 20s.
Yeah.
That's considered young people sobriety.
Yeah. I'm getting older, that's for sure.
No, you're not getting older. Imagine me.
But yeah, it's crazy.
You're an interesting character. You want to know why?
Tell me. I'd love to hear this.
The things that I used to see you in places where people go to congregate for meetings, right? 12-step meetings. I used to see you, and I think she's interesting. And it's not just the tattoos; it's the way that you carried yourself. You seemed, you were friends with some of the other youngsters that I knew that were, and you probably still are.
Yeah.
But you were also independent. It seemed.
Yeah.
It seemed, right? You had an agenda in your life, a few agendas perhaps, but one of them was definitely you were driven towards art. Seeing your stuff on Facebook, I would see that you were in school. You were obviously in the tattoo world, right? Right. And then on top of that, I started to see your TikTok presence, which you were, you have a way about you.
Yeah.
And I would often think why is she living in Orange County? She should live in LA. She's totally LA.
Yeah.
But, I guess you definitely love the area down in OC. I love your style.
Thank you.
It's not just the tattoos, and it's not the hairstyles, although you're fun to watch on TikTok.
Thank you.
What's your TikTok handle?
Baby cherry pie. BBY cherry pie.
Spell it.
BBYCHERRYPIE.
Okay. And is that because is this part of that?
Yeah, cherry pie.
Okay.
Baby cherry pie.
Okay.
Something I want to do something different. It relates to tattoos, but is not doesn't have the word tattoo in it.
Okay. And in what, like, now that you're in school, like, you are studying to become what?
So my major is drawing and painting with an illustration emphasis, and I'm just about to finish my tattoo apprenticeship.
And is tattoo apprenticeship part of that school?
No,
that's a whole separate thing.
Separate. I'm doing
that's
both.
within a tattoo parlor or tattoo school.
Yeah, so a tattoo shop.
Which is where? Which one?
In Laguna Beach, called Cast of Crowns.
Okay.
Really nice.
That's like the spot down there.
It's a really nice shop. Everyone, a bunch of the artists there are alumni from my school.
Okay.
So it's all fine art based.
So they went to that school.
Oh, they went to the same school as I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your artistic skills as far as drawing and painting have improved because you said you weren't really artistic, like, or you didn't know.
I just didn't know. Yeah, I knew I had a lot of really good ideas, and that's what I thought would. I thought because my ideas were really good that there would be some kind of aspect I could use them in the future, and that's kind of when I just started. I was like, let me just try this and see what comes of it. And then I was like, wow, I can actually do this. People started noticing. I started being able to make money selling art. Now I'm working on charcoals and I'm doing all these different mediums, and I can be successful and make money doing that as a hobby while I tattoo, and I don't want to just tattoo. I don't want to just make art. I want to do all of it.
Right.
I
don't know. I think I told you this, but a lot of people don't know this about me, but like in 2004, I may have been like in my early 30s, probably around the age that you are right now.
Yeah.
But I was not well. I was on lots of drugs, and my mom kept encouraging me to go to the Art Institute, and I was like, I'm not ready for this. In my head, I was saying, I'm not ready for this. To her, I was like, okay, right? And we signed up, and I knew like in 3 weeks I need to go actually start school, and I thought this is going to be so fucking overwhelming because I'm not sober and I'm not going to perform well, and it's going to become too much for me, and I'll just like use all the way up until that week, and then I'll quit 1 week before it, and that didn't happen. And then the day before I was going to go, I actually went, and I attempted to go to school there for 1 year to learn interactive media design and build websites and things like that. I took painting classes. I did all of it. I loved it. I loved the way they would send us on field trips to different art museums to go do reports and things like that. But more importantly, like I was studying art. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I'm an artist. Like I love colors. I love art. I love coloration. I love drawing. I love painting. I love doing murals, all of that stuff. Yeah. But the problem was when I was debilitated on drugs, like I couldn't fucking do it. Yeah. Like I would overkill, or I would not show up, or I'd show up late, and I tanked that school. Yeah. Like it got so bad, I got put on academic probation 2 different times, and then finally, on my last chance, I totally ruined the whole opportunity and got kicked out of that school by the dean of students and asked not to come back on the campus.
No way.
Like that's how bad I was. So to see you thriving now in artistically, after getting sober, like this, you could have missed all this.
I knew because I had tried to paint. I had tried to do art without drinking, or I really couldn't because I wanted to be fucked up, Right. I tried to do it just smoking weed. I tried to do it without smoking. I went to meth before. I tried to do it just drinking a little bit. And every time, either like if I was smoking too much meth beforehand, which I always was smoking meth. So realistically, like I had to like tone it down. Right. My hands would be shaking if I drank even just a little bit. As I'm drinking and I'm feeling the buzz, I just start to get sloppy, like I don't care. And I would smoke weed, and this happened multiple times where I tried this, and it's weird to think back, but I remember every instance, and I remember being like, "This is why this happened." I would just smoke weed, and I was like, "Oh," and I would zone out on my phone. I wouldn't even. I swear this happened multiple times where I have something ready to paint all this stuff, and then I smoke weed. I took a dab or whatever, and I'm just like on my phone, and it's an hour later, and I was like, I don't feel like painting,
I understand that like why would I want to paint right now? I'm loaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just want to get more loaded.
Yeah. So now you're plugged in. You've been sober for a while.
Yeah.
You take this thing seriously. Is that
100%. New? Kind of new. Maybe I got it. Evan, one of the artists at the shop, did it. We're looking at I have a chrome barbed wire tattoo.
Where do you come up
We're
with the
doing some
styles
chrome
of the
stuff.
tattoos? Like, what makes you choose certain things? Like, cherry pie is awesome. It looks so awesome.
It looks so good.
Looks
It's
so
just
good.
I don't know. I think that stuff that I have not seen before. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have,
Is what
what's
I
this
like.
bottle say? Nostalgia
Nostalgia elixir. I
Elixir.
got that when I was in rehab in 2015.
And what
It
made you
says a
come up with
matter
that?
of time. I think I saw like a theme. I don't know. I think it was like I don't remember.
Okay, so you have some fruit.
I have some fruit.
What's up with the fruit?
The fruit we always had, really productive lemon and orange tree in our backyard my whole life. So those are things that were like a reminder, like water where you want it to be fruitful.
Right.
And those were like important tattoos of mine.
Here,
and
see if we can. Yeah.
I can like move back a little bit.
Move back and show them what you got there.
I have a little bit of we have the orange and stuff like that, and my cat is a lucky cat here.
That's your cat.
That's my cat.
Your cat's name is
Louis.
Louis, yes.
And my mom used to say I cried alligator tears, so we got the jar of tears.
Oh my god, that's awesome!
Yeah, that's cool, huh?
Wait, let me see. Oh my god, that's awesome!
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
There's themes. There's like meaning to your tattoos.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of meaning. I have a few Amelie tattoos that
look at that flower's awesome.
Yeah, I just had this redone, recolored. But I have a bunch of stuff. A lot of them are very meaningful. This is from another Amelie reference. The artichoke. I have Amelie phrase. I have.
Are you going to color in the artichoke or no?
No, they're probably going to stay black and gray on my inner legs because that's just kind of the style.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So with having all these tattoos, now, I mean, obviously your mom tripped out and made you get your tattoo removed in the first place.
Yeah.
And so then you went and got, I mean, what does she say now? Does she another tattoo or did she?
Yeah, she was like, oh, when did you get that one? Or how long did you?
But she doesn't trip.
She did for a very long time.
Right.
She thought she took it very personally. I think that's more what it is. It's like she took it very personally. I think it's also because she has this mindset that if you have a lot of tattoos, or you have all this artwork, how are you going to get a job? And now that they see I have a career in art, it's a little bit more accepted. My grandpa, who never, this is a tattoo of my grandpa.
So awesome.
And he now, points it out to his caretakers, which before that would have never.
It wouldn't have flown.
No, he would have never pointed it out and been like, I like, wow, you have that on your body. But now he tells everyone, and I think it's because he's not only proud, but he's accepting, and he sees that I have a career in it, and he trusts, that I'm going to be successful with what I'm doing.
Is your future? Does it consist of you being an all-star tattoo artist in Laguna Beach?
I don't know about Laguna Beach,
Where?
long term, but I think what I want to do is travel and do guest spots. Probably, maybe I'll have my own shop, but I think ideally, tattooing will pay the bills. Tattooing would be a main source of income, but realistically, it would be nice to use that outlet to be able to just create art and have art exhibitions, which I want to be successful in as well.
You have ribbons on your back that you say you want to take off.
Yeah, I'm getting it removed.
So when you get it removed, then you're going to have like a plain back?
So I'll have nothing on my back
anymore. Will that make it a fresh canvas? Are you planning on covering everything?
Fresh canvas. I'll get a whole back piece probably done down to my butt.
You still have a lot of room.
I'm saving this.
You're saving.
Yeah, it's been hard, but I'm saving it because I'm going to go to Italy this summer. I want to get work done in Italy by a bunch of artists.
Do you already know the artists that you want to?
Yes, yeah, of course.
What about your face? How come you've never tattooed your face?
Because I like my face.
Your face is beautiful.
I think
you're a very beautiful lady.
Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Thank you. I think the guy that I'm seeing likes that too.
Yes, totally.
But I think the face tattoos, it'd have to be something really special. And I've definitely thought about it, something coming out of my head onto here, but I'm not in any rush. Yeah. Because I think those are all really important tattoos that will come with time. Do you think
when you see like addicts or alcoholics that are in recovery that get face tattoos or have gotten them in the past, do you think that shit sometimes is psychological, or do you think like there was a point to it?
That they get them, or
do you think they're trying to put a message out? Is there a fuck you to the world, or I don't care about my future?
Definitely,
I'm not going to get a job.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it is just dumb thinking. You know what I mean?
Or I was
too.
loaded when I did it.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people with face tattoos that were in the program or that were using when they got these tattoos, and some of them are just bets, and oh, I bet you wouldn't do that, and oh yeah, watch me, you know what I mean? Or they're just fleeting thoughts, but
Right.
they're permanent pieces, and someone that I was talking to for a little while, he had a bunch of face tattoos, and he was like, no, I definitely want to get them removed.
So people that get them eventually do regret them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them.
Some people don't. You know, some people get them later on in life. I dated someone with a tattoo on his face. He loved it. It was like, you know, his whole total thing for him, you know.
Should I get one on my face?
No.
Should I get like
you're not allowed to.
Should I get a red like heart on the tip of my nose?
Pej is not allowed to get face tattoos until he's fully covered. It's the kind of a rite of passage when you get face tattoos as well. You know, it's kind of frowned upon if you don't have, you know, it's frowned upon to get your hands tattooed unless you have your arms done.
Right,
so
that makes sense. Okay.
My tattoo artist would not tattoo my hands.
There's a culture within the tattoo world.
He would not. Yeah, it's like it's an unsaid thing. You know, you know, it's a job ruiner. You know, so it's like realistically, you have a young kid that just wants their hand done. They don't have any other tattoos. It's like, is this a smart decision?
Mm-hmm,
you know, for the tattoo artist, is it respectful of, you know, that person, and you know, vice versa, and you know.
What was the hardest or the most painful part? I mean, you have your palms tattooed.
Yeah, the palm was probably one of the most painful. I had it done 4 times.
4 times?
But this baby ain't going nowhere now.
4 times because it wouldn't stay?
I had it done twice by someone that had never done a palm, and now I've had it done once fully, and then a touch up by someone that did know how to do them.
When you now go in for tattoos because you've gotten so many, is there ever times when you're like, here we go? Or is it like that once the needle starts hitting, like, or you're like, oh, I'm familiar, I'm used to this?
Depends on the day. Depends on my mood. It's all different.
Or some days, is it like, holy shit, ow, 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 ow. I know when I got it in the middle of my back, that shit hurt.
I've had a bunch of tattoos redone recently. Like I had this redone. I had my knee redone. I had both of these thighs redone. So they're really bright and they look really nice. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, those were painful. But also it's so temporary, you know? So for me, you forget the pain, just like, you know, the misery, you know, sometimes you forget it. And that's why we continue to do stuff like through our bodies or whatever, because, you know, I just want to feel something. Just want to feel it again. No.
And obviously in the makeup world, like you're very colorful when it comes to putting on different types of makeup.
Yeah, I like doing makeup. I always have. That's why I thought I would be a successful makeup artist. But I just think that ship sailed a long time ago.
Well, you're doing other big things now.
I am. I think there's a reason why I've been put in this path, and you know, why my back injury happened and all these other colorful things in my life. And I have like my dream apprenticeship, you know, like the place that I'm at is absolutely amazing. I just sold the charcoal that I did for my apprenticeship for like, you know, a few $1,000s.
Oh, I've seen it. Like, I think it's the one I saw, right?
Yeah, and that was just like a huge thing. I've built this community of collectors through the glass industry. Mm-hmm. They don't just collect glass, they collect art. And these people that are spending all this money on art in general have money, and they want to support me. And I've built this foundation of people, which a lot of apprentices and a lot of other artists don't have, like off the bat. Mm-hmm. I was lucky enough to have this community of people that just all overlaps: art community, fine art, and tattoo world. And it just all is like built this like really strong, you know, mesh for me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is your mom proud of you?
She's very proud of me.
Does she understand your sobriety, the importance of your sobriety? Does she respect it?
Oh yeah, she totally respects it. I don't think she understands it as much, you know, as like most normies, you know. I don't think they understand. I think they're scared more than anything. I think they're scared to like see it.
Is she scared that you might go back to using and drinking?
No. I think there have been times where she thinks like, oh, because my friends, you know, smoke weed or whatever, that I might smoke weed or something. But I think she's pretty confident now that I wouldn't be doing that.
So when you say your friends smoke weed, why don't you? What happens? Like, what will happen if you know what could happen? Is that
for me? It's like I play the tape. I love saying that. That's something I learned in early sobriety. It's like I play the tape back, you know,
Mhm.
and I remind myself of how I felt when I was doing that. There were a lot of amazing times. There were so many good times, but when it came down to it, I was in my room like alone, like miserable, and didn't know what to do with my life. You know, really, if I smoked weed, I would get really paranoid, and I
Right.
know that. And it would to smoke weed, I'd have to build a tolerance to smoke weed, and
Right.
then if I'm building a tolerance, I'm getting high, and I'm down, so I need to get up. Then I'd probably go back on Craigslist looking for drugs because I have nowhere
Right.
else. You know,
I mean, I'm gonna say, I'm writing this in my book too. Like, there was a lot of good times. Most definitely, when
there
I was
were a
getting, there's a lot
lot.
of, I did a lot of drugs that made you feel really fucking good.
Yeah.
So, but it's like come down, or when it becomes, you know, a shit show of a lifestyle where
Yeah.
you're just like aimless, like you don't know what you're
Yeah.
doing with yourself,
Yeah.
and the time seems like it just
The
flies
thing is,
by.
like, the good times were so long ago. The bad times were the most recent,
Right.
you know? And I have to remind myself of all the stories that I hear of people that go out and they say, I left off right where I started.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm back right where I ended. You know what I mean?
And
That's
usually how it
exactly
is.
would be my case. And if for me,
Yeah.
especially because I'm a little older now, I have more, you know, all these other knowledge under my belt. I know, like, because I'd be fresh in the game again, like things would just, I would crash and burn real quick.
Right.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, there's no way. And people at my shop, they'd never seen me drunk or high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my coworkers, they love me to death, and they're like, I joke with them a lot. I do this thing where, because everyone's drinking or people like that, and the guy I'm seeing, so I kind of fuck with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. And they're like, okay, everyone, you guys all want Trulies, or you guys all want White Claws? I'm like, yeah, grab me one too. And I just mess with them to see what they say about it. And they're always like, I would never, you know, like, you know, they're very protective over me, and it's kind of cool to like see that come out of them too, you know. And
Love it.
I would have to hide it. Because, and they would know. The thing is, they've never seen me like that, so they would know probably right away, you know, and I wouldn't be able to hide it. So
you ain't doing that.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it.
I love you.
Well, I love you too. You're one of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you.
You really are. I mean, a lot of people say that I say that to them, but like, there's people that stand out to me, and you stand out not just because of all of this.
It's nice to do this,
but what's
with you.
in here. Like, you have.
Thank you.
It's so fun. Like,
yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
I know, we've been talking about it. It's crazy because I remember when I first got sober, those first 3 months, and that's when I connected with you, and then I was gone for 9 months. And I think that you were one of the first people I saw back at the first meeting I went to, or the second meeting I went to. Mm-hmm. And you were like, where have you been? And I think you were like one of the first people I was like, I've been out, you know, and I'm coming back. And I just remember like that, like feeling of like connectedness and like love.
Yeah.
That was like, and like understanding that I was so scared of coming back, you know? And I remember it distinctly that was like seeing your face. I just felt like so good.
I always, whenever I see you, you always brighten up a room. It's like, I feel more like, because you're like family. So like, I love that you're on the path.
Thank you.
And I know that you help a lot of people.
I love doing it with you.
I love you very much. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you for coming out. I know you got to go somewhere.
Yeah, I got to go to school soon.
It was so good to have you.
Yeah, it was nice to see you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys for coming.